Oil and gas production, transportation, and refining processes rely heavily on automation and control systems connected to the internet, making the sector vulnerable to cyber attacks due to the high value of the data and systems that they control. According to the latest ransomware report by Sophos, energy, oil, and gas utilities is now the industry with the third highest rate of attack, with 67% targeted by ransomware last year. Exploited vulnerabilities were the leading cause of such attacks and affected more computer systems than any other sector. The need to optimize production and minimize downtime is crucial in this industry. Leveraging digital technologies can aid in streamlining processes, improving decision-making, and reducing inefficiencies. While digital transformation may be exacerbating cyber attacks, the answer to optimizing processes, increasing cybersecurity, and meeting new government reporting regulations may be rooted in additional technology. This is the perfect time to introduce today's guest, Cody Ban, Director of Engineering with SmartSights. All right, Cody, can you explain how oil and gas companies specifically benefit from adding more technology?
Hi, Anna. Sure. Thanks for having me. So as you mentioned, the oil and gas industry has a real target on its back when it comes to ransomware attacks. And one simple reason for that is the targets have deep pockets. But a less obvious one is that attackers also know they can leverage the very high cost that downtime entails with the oil and gas sector, as well as the value of the data and systems there. They want their systems back online yesterday, and they want their data back. And so, of course, ransom demands are high, and the frequency of payment is high compared to other sectors. It's really that last statistic that you mentioned that we should focus on, that exploited vulnerabilities are the leading attack vector for oil and gas. That's really damning. It's not phishing emails or social engineering like we often point to. It's unpatched systems that are leading to these problems. And so how do we get here? Well, the very nature of upstream and midstream operations is that they're taking place over a larger geographic area than most processes. And so oil and gas productions have readily adopted technology with greater connectivity to the internet to bring that information, that telemetry from those sites up to corporate offices and to teams that are servicing them in the field. And again, the value of that data and the cost of downtime motivated that telemetry and the large technological investments. And these are complex operations. It's not just one software package to keep updated. At the same time, it's often just one vulnerability that an attacker needs to exploit. Attackers are simply taking advantage of the sector's increased reliance on technology and the prevalence of those vulnerable systems. The business value of the connectivity isn't going anywhere. That's a very real value that oil and gas companies get from the technology today, and it's only increasing. So the remedy actually isn't less technology, it's actually more. The part of that investment is certainly as simple as updating. Now, replacing legacy systems and networks can be costly, but there's a simple action plan for companies to help protect against cyber attacks. They can work with vendors and cybersecurity experts to implement updates and, if necessary, overhauls of their outdated systems. They can invoke the help of internal or external advisors to prioritize risk and develop a practical plan for enhancing cybersecurity. That helps remove these vulnerabilities that attackers are exploiting. But they should also recognize that the complexity of their systems are very real, and companies should also invest in intrusion detection solutions, network activity monitoring, even more robust backup and recovery solutions. That's how they'll benefit by adding more technology.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Cody, can you explain how SmartSights is involved with the oil and gas industry and just give us a little bit of background on the company?
Oh, sure. So at SmartSights, we build software to elevate the performance of operations teams. Most people know us for our remote notification solution, Win911, and our reporting solution, XL Reporter. So we augment the capabilities of SCADA and historian solutions from our partners at Aviva and Emerson, GE, Rockwell, and other vendors from over OPC. We have users upstream, midstream, and downstream, and the most common usage for our solutions would be notifying oil and gas teams about alarm conditions in their process. So if Joe's driving to one well site to check out something and a higher severity condition occurs, it's our software that calls Joe so he knows to turn the truck around and get over there instead. And more than that, it's our software that lets Joe pull that information up he needs from that site on his mobile device so he can better plan his response. Generally, Win911 software enables staff to respond faster to equipment problems while being more proactive with maintenance issues saving time and money. As for our involvement with oil and gas and cybersecurity, we're a trusted provider of information to operations teams, and we understand the value of remote access to information. And we've architected our solutions to allow the information flow from the L2 network out to those remote workers and back without compromising security. Frankly, many SCADA systems are simply overexposed to the internet by remote desktop applications like RDP and TeamViewer. And in an attempt to provide process and asset information to operators, organizations have provided much more, ignoring the principle of least privilege. They've opened their entire control systems and their host to remote desktop access by unnecessary parties. And that's risky. So I really believe that advanced remote alarm notification software and reporting software is part of the solution here that preserves the business value of allowing remote operators access, but only to the information that they need from SCADA and not access to the SCADA itself or its operating system. Admittedly, that's only part of the solution, though. There's a number of things that we'd like to encourage oil and gas companies to consider to improve their cybersecurity. First, update any software to the absolute latest version that's stable. Ask anyone in software development if they're more concerned about building secure solutions than they were 10 years ago. The answer is yes. If you're running older builds, you're taking more risk. Next, I'd say deploy multi-factor authentication. Favor authentication apps and SMS over email, but the number 2 attack vector for oil and gas was compromised credentials. So if a site isn't using multi-factor authentication today, it's probably because they're using older software versions without support for that. And again, they should consider upgrades. Where those upgrades aren't practical and that maintenance cost is preferable, be sure to use strong passwords and change them periodically to avoid that threat of compromised credentials. Ensure that antivirus systems, spam filters, and firewalls are up to date, properly configured and secured. Require personnel to go through cybersecurity awareness training. Those programs are a small investment and they really do increase vigilance. And finally, I'd say it's really important with ransomware to review backup and recovery plans. The attackers in these cases were most likely to successfully compromise backups in the oil and gas sector more than any other sector. That only increases recovery time and the frequency of payments, which in turn increases the tax on the sector.
Yeah, a lot of very good tips there, Cody. We appreciate that. So to that end, let's talk about how SmartSights is actually helping oil and gas companies comply with the related reporting requirements.
Sure. So last year, TSA announced some significant updates to its security directive that's aimed at enhancing cybersecurity for pipelines and liquid natural gas facilities. TSA is committed to fortifying the nation's critical infrastructure against cyber threats, and that's a very good thing. TSA substantially expanded their cyber incident reporting requirements when it required the critical pipeline owners and operators to report cybersecurity incidences to the Department of Homeland Security within 12 hours of identification. And to help meet these mandates, companies can turn to third-party reporting software like Excel Reporter. It's one of many reasons to consider advanced reporting. Our reports provide visualization of historized process information. They let you correlate related process variables and compute metrics on data and visually graph that so you can spot patterns and anomalies in the data. And we can push those reports or allow them to be retrieved through Win911. We can even monitor Win911's logs itself so you can further analyze and optimize condition response times. So yeah, we'd love to help with that.
Cybersecurity threats and evolving government reporting regulations are reshaping the oil and gas industry. Trying to meet these challenges with manually intensive processes and outdated technology is difficult. However, by leveraging advanced technologies such as reporting and analytics software and remote alarm notification software, this critical infrastructure can be resilient against cyber attacks, meet compliances, and maximize operational efficiencies. Well, thank you, Cody, for those very specific and targeted insights into this very important issue for oil and gas. We appreciate you being here today.
Thanks again, Anna.